Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Eric Gallina, and I'm here with my friend and colleague, Sam Livingstone, who is director at Car Design Research. And if you don't know who he is, you can find out more about Sam on the podcast that we recorded before. Without further ado, let's kick it off. Sam, do you have a particular new car that you want to start with?
Why don't we talk about this new Hyundai Ioniq 5?
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure it's pronounced like that. My sense is that it's getting quite a lot of interest and engagement in the design community. Obviously, it follows the sort of show car preview that we saw quite closely, quite faithfully, actually, which is impressive.
Yes.
From 18 months ago when there used to be auto shows, that was a Frankfurt show car.
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't know, in my mind, it's like it's a bit Marmite, isn't it? It's like it's got a lot of it which I really would rate. I think and a lot of people hold in high esteem. It's sort of somehow quite an exquisite thing. But then on the other side, it's like, well, so this is a new all-electric Hyundai, kind of speaks conceptually. It's not something that's particularly new, is it? It is kind of, in some respects, quite a conventional thing, albeit very handsomely done. What do you think about it?
I do agree. I mean, it's not revolutionary, right? But I think dimensionally is where it kind of changes things. And the fact that it's on an electric car platform, that in itself enables this massive wheelbase. I mean, the wheelbase itself is the size of a Q7. Like, it's the size of Hyundai's flagship SUV, the Palisade. I mean, these are not small vehicles. So I remember seeing this car, and you're absolutely right. It's very faithful to the concept. But then again, we're not seeing many concepts anymore, are we? I mean, everything is kind of pre-production. They're just putting it out there as a gauge. Maybe they're changing the wheel sizes and some minor details, but ultimately we're not seeing concept vehicles anymore.
What's good though is that some of the really interesting little funny details going around the wheel arch, for example. Right. Now that's the sort of thing we were looking at it. I mean, we were probably even looking at it together in Frankfurt a year and a half ago. I'm sure if somebody had asked, we'd be like, well, clearly that won't make it through to production, but it has done.
Yes.
And actually, we've done a lot of work with Hyundai on and off for quite some time. I think I've been out to Korea on and off for, at least 15 years. And I don't think 15 years ago, or even 10 years ago, and maybe not even 5 years ago, would we have seen what fundamentally is a much more corporate commitment to design. That would not have been an easy thing to produce. That will have cost money. That will have been an effort. There will have been engineers shaking their heads. The design team have obviously now got the power to get that through. And I reckon that's probably because actually Hyundai are recognizing that design has carried them. They have invested in design. Design has made a difference to that brand, to the bottom line. And they are, if you like, more committed to it. They're able to, designers are more empowered, it seems like. So, yeah, I think there's a lot on that which is impressively carried through, Eric, which, okay, maybe show cars are more of a preview, but actually, that really was quite faithful on the exterior to go through like that. I mean, I think they've lost the matrix LED lights at the front, perhaps, but as a whole, to see those go through.
No, I mean, there's a lot of things that I like about it. I mean, there's a reason why it's resonating in the design community, and that's because it is very well done. It's simplistic as well. It's not overly. I mean, a lot of people are bashing the Zorro line or whatever, but I quite like it. I mean, it's a little bit of there's some differentiation there. So it's not like a lot of people are also referencing the fact that it looks like a Lancia Delta, and I mean, who doesn't love those historic rally cars anyway? So why not have it? But again, it's from a size perspective, it's extremely much larger. It's way different than the Delta.
But that's the interesting thing, that size thing. You look at a picture of it and it's like, oh, there's a Golf.
Yeah.
Or certainly the read of it. I mean, when you read the press material and the media coverage, which is particularly international or from the Americas, they're like CUV. They're quite happy to to use the party line. Here's a new CUV. Guys, it's not a CUV. It's a hatchback. It's just big.
Indeed.
And actually, the proportions of it are faithfully, it's borderline Giugiaro. Do you know what I mean? It's like properly a hatchback in a European mold, but dimensionally, it's smack in a sort of slightly larger footprint. It is more ID4 than ID3 in its the sort of the shadow it casts. But then actually, you look at the whole thing, and it's like, hey, honey, I blew up the A3.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, proportionally, it's quite different to a full-size SUV. But what I like about it is the fact that you're going to have this usable interior space because of that large wheelbase and those minimal overhangs. And, it is typology blurring in that sense, It is very much a big hatchback. And it's not that big. I mean, I remember seeing it in Frankfurt with you, as you mentioned, and it wasn't like this is a huge vehicle.
Sure.
It was
No, I don't
it
think
was
it's not.
proper. It was
Yeah, it's not a problem with it being that size. All I mean is, you can go and buy one. People think you've got a golf-sized car. It's like, well, actually, the message shouldn't be in my mind. I don't think it should be. I've got a golf-type car. I think the message should be I've got something a bit bigger than that, and a bit different to that, and a bit of a different vehicle typology, which represents maybe a different lifestyle and identity. So in my mind, strategically, I don't quite get why you take a small car vernacular and then scale it, because I don't know if the market necessarily has an appetite for that. I'm not quite sure what the message is that's beneficial.
I just want to finish off with saying, I've been speaking with Luc Donkerwalke. I've been speaking with a bunch of people that are working over there. Pierre Leclerc, who is talking about exactly what you were talking about, and that design is very much enabled over there in Korea. They value it, perhaps they didn't in the past, but certainly Peter Schreier paved the way for Hyundai Motor Group to really, see the value in design. And that is pretty much the subject and the title of your podcast in terms of seeing the value in design.